Very good morning. How are you, students? I hope you all are well. Do you enjoyed the holidays? Yes or no? What you done in these days? What you were doing in the previous days? Okay. Do you eat delicious food? Yes or no? Okay, fine. Today we are going to continue the remaining portion. All of you take your textbook, English textbook, and open your textbook at page 11. Do you open? Okay, now we can start. Look at the 5th paragraph. Presently, he saw another boy ahead of him, driving a few goats down the path. Our small boy saw another boy ahead of him, front of him, driving a few goats down the path. And he asked that boy, "How far is the river?" The village boy smiled in a friendly way and said, "Oh, not far, just round the next hill and straight down." ആ ഒരു കുട്ടി മറ്റൊരു കുട്ടിയെ കണ്ടു, അല്ലേ? എന്താണ് ആ കുട്ടിയോട് ചോദിച്ചത്? ഹൗ ഫാർ ഈസ് റിവർ? പുഴയിലേക്ക്, നദിയിലേക്ക് എത്ര ദൂരെയാണ് എന്നുള്ളത് ചോദിച്ചു, അല്ലേ? ആ സമയത്ത് എന്താണ് ആ കുട്ടി മറുപടി പറഞ്ഞത്? The boy smiled in a friendly way and said, "Oh, not far, just round the next hill and straight down." The boy, feeling hungry, unwrapped his loaf of bread and broke it in halves, offering one portion to the village boy. They sat on the hillside and ate in silence. Our boy felt hungry and he unwrapped. Wrapped means covering. Unwrap means opening. Okay, very good. His loaf of bread and broke it in halves. Half. One half. Two halves. Okay. Half means പകുതി. Halves. പകുതികൾ, അല്ലേ? രണ്ട് പകുതികളാക്കി മാറ്റി. Offering one portion to the village boy. They sat on the hillside and ate in silence. When they had finished, they walked on together and began talking. The boy did not notice the smarting of his feet and the heat of the sun and the distance he had covered and the distance he had yet to cover. But after some time his companion had to diverge along another path and the boy was once more on his own. That means when they had finished their eating, they walked together, talking each other. And the boy did not notice the smarting of his feet. The feet was smarting. It was paining. Actually, the feet was paining because he had covered a lot of distance. And also, he didn't notice the heat of the sun, the hot sun. He didn't notice. And he didn't notice about the distance he had covered actually and the distance he wanted to cover. But after some time, his companion had to diverge along another path, and the boy was once more on his own. His companion, the boy who was looking after the gods, had diverged his path and he went his own way and our boy was once more alone. All of you turn your page. He missed the village boy. He could not be seen. His own home was also hidden from view by the side of the mountain. That boy missed that village boy. He went his own way, and also that he could not see his home also, because the home was far, and also from the side of that mountain he could not see his home. The river was not in sight either. The thing that we want to know, the river was not in sight. He cannot see the river. He began to feel discouraged. He was sorry he had finished the bread. He might want it later. He think that I finished my bread, then how could I manage all these things? He was determined to see the river. He walked on along the hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and terraced fields until there were no more fields or huts. He went on his journey. He continued his journey through that hot, dusty, stony path, past mud huts and terrace fields until there were no more fields or huts, only forests and sun and loneliness. The boy was going on. The boy was continued for a lot of minutes, and he could not see the river, and he could only see the fields, the stony path, the mud huts were there. And after a while, he couldn't see the mud huts and field. Only the forest, sun and loneliness were there. Now there was no man or any sign of man's influence. He couldn't see any man or any influence of any man. Any presence of man cannot be seen by that boy. Only trees and rocks and bramble and flowers. Only trees, rocks, bramble and flowers. Only silence. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. The silence was impressive and a little frightening. Fear. Frightening means fear, afraid. It was different from the silence of a room or street. It was the silence of space, of the unknown, the silence of God. He was saying that it was the silence of space, of the unknown. He couldn't know what is it. The silence of God Almighty. Then as the boy rounded the sharp bend, the silence broke into sound, a sudden roaring sound, the sound of the river far down in the valley. The river, a sudden roaring sound, the sound of the river far down in the valley. The river tumbled over rocks. The boy gasped and began to run. He slipped and stumbled, but still he ran. Then he was ankle deep in the painful cold mountain water, and the water was blue and white and wonderful. At last, the boy could enjoy the river. The boy could enjoy the water coming from the mountain, and it was a wonderful event. Even though it was a painful experience he had in his life, he enjoyed the traveling to reach the river, and he succeeded, and finally he could reach his destination. അവസാനം നമ്മുടെ ആ കുഞ്ഞു മോനെ ആ പുഴയിലേക്ക് എത്തുക തന്നെ ചെയ്തു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ കഥ. അതോടുകൂടി കഥ അവസാനിച്ചു.